All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Peace, salutations, and many blessings to your elect Akim across the four corners of this earth, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. I want to say Thawada to Yahweh, by Yahweh Shai, for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Now what this lesson is going to be on is going to be on a testimony, on a dream that I actually had last night, on an angel actually speaking to me. I will say this, it was on Friday before I went to camp a few hours prior. I was driving in the car. I was on my way back from the store and grabbing a carrier oil, because I make oils and all that. But I was on my way buying an oil so I can go home and actually make an oil. And as I'm driving, on my way to the crib, when I get off on my exit, I look to the right, and it's a large woody field area. And the spirit was on me like, you know what, that seems like a good spot for me to actually go to from time to time and just kind of just sit there, pray to the Heavenly Father, meditate on a few things. So I have that thought. Then I go back home. And then I'm gonna fast forward later on to after camp. Me and a brother was chopping it up. Me and the brother Arianaz and myself, we was chopping it up about a few things. And I was talking to that brother, and he had mentioned about how where he prays. He was like, I usually go to a field where I pray. And I was like, man, that's the spirit. That's confirmation. Because I told him, I was like, earlier that day, I was riding down the highway and I got off on the exit, and there was a field area, and the spirit told me to go over there and pray to the Lord. So as that brother made that statement, I just connected the dots as, that's the spirit telling me I have to go to that area and pray, because it made me think of, Yahweh Shai would always go to certain areas by himself and pray. He would he went to the Garden of Gethsemane. He would go on a mountain in a cave, and he would pray to the Lord. And ultimately what we're doing is we're going back to our heritage. The brother Itazawan from the Wisconsin camp did a beautiful lesson going in regards to how we're getting our heritage back. And reading of the men of old and certain things that they did when they prayed is something that I thought about, and it's something that I wanted to adhere to. It's something that I wanted to do. So after the brother made that statement, how he goes to the field and he prays, I thought of it to myself as confirmation. I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna start praying. So as I went there at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and this was Friday night. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and there was one area where I could park it. I was trying to search around a place to park, and there was one spot where only one car could fit. And it was kind of like it wasn't really a parking lot. It was kind of like just a little entrance way where one car could fit. So I took it as, I'm gonna follow the spirit. I'm gonna go in and park right here. So as I was walking in that woody area, I heard, it was little critters, it was birds, it was locusts, it was crickets. You heard all those noises because, of course, you're in a fielded area. And I asked Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, I asked him, can you show me a good spot and lead me to the place where I need to be at to pray to you? Because it's a nice size area. It's not small. It's a nice amount of acres. It's pretty big. So as I'm walking deeper and deeper into the woods, I see a light shining. So I look towards the light, and I keep walking towards that light. And as I'm walking towards that light, it's probably about 75 yards in. Mind you, it's trees everywhere. But as I walk towards that light about 75 yards in, there's an opening, and it's nothing but tall plants, tall flowers, tall weeds, about up to my hip. And it's trees and woods circling around the area. And as I walked into this area, it was lit up. It was lit up. It wasn't dark like in the woods. When I was in the woods, it was very dark. It was hard to see. And I went in there, and it was just a lit up area. And as you looked up, you could see the stars, you could see the moon. Everything was open. It was very peaceful, So as I'm sitting there, oh, by the way, it was beautiful because it was just how the flowers were aligned. It was different types of flowers and weeds that was all over the place. And in the midst of that open area, there was a tall plant-like bush that was just sitting there. So as I looked at that area, and as I know the light had led me there, that was confirmation within my spirit to know that that was the place where I needed to be praying at. So I was there for about an hour. Just beseeching Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, praying for him to strengthen certain things that I lacked, praying for him to enhance certain things that I wanted to be enhanced. And it was a point where I was there for about an hour, just praying, just begging, asking him certain things. And as I'm there, I just kind of hear like footsteps behind me, hear the weeds moving. And now, granted, it could have been critters and all that. Again, it was a woody area, and I seen things in my peripherals moving, and I looked and I didn't see anything, so it was I felt my spirit or my senses being extremely heightened while I was there. It was to the point where I actually felt the hairs on the back of my neck and my arms just standing up, so I had left. I went home, and, of course, went to sleep, went up to work the next day. All right. And so, that was that situation of me finding that place to pray to on that Friday. So yesterday while I was at work, I work overnight. I go in at about 5:45 and I get out at about 3:15. But it was on my spirit to actually leave a little bit early. The spirit told me to leave early, just use PTO. I got PTO, and just leave early and go to the place that you pray at. So I had ended up getting off early and driving to the place. And as I, parked my car at the spot I parked at before, I walked out of the car and I had my flashlight going. And I was trying to find the place and I could not find it. I was looking around for it and I couldn't find it. I circled around 3 times thinking that I was going to the spot, and it kept leading me back out to the street. So the 3rd time comes around, or I prayed to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, send your light, lighten my eyes, lighten my pathway so I can find this place. Because I truly believe that was the place that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai had designated for me to go to and to call unto him. So as I did that, the 3rd go around, I turned my flashlight off on my phone, and I just walked in the darkness, with no flashlight. And as I'm walking into it, I'm continuing to walk. I look and I see that light again. So I walk towards that light, and lo and behold, it leads me to the place again. And I could just, give, all I could have to do was just give praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, call Allah Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Barakah Kadash. So as I go there, I take my shoes off, and I did that the first time. I took my shoes off, and I just sat there and I prayed to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and I continued to pray to him for about 45 minutes. And one of the things that I prayed for while I was there was for him to give me more wisdom, was for him to actually allow me to take hold of wisdom, more wisdom. So as I prayed for those things, and there was multiple things that I prayed for, but that was one of the things that stood out that I prayed for, was wisdom, and for me to actually remember certain scriptures. And I was reciting those in the Hebrew. And I kid you not, brothers, after I prayed to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and the last thing I said was, Baba Kashah, allow an angel to take my prayer and report my prayer. And I asked that my prayer in supplication is worthy enough to reach your holy throne in heaven. So after I had ended my prayer off, the wind started blowing like crazy. Mind you, when I was praying, everything was still, everything was calm. But as I got done with my prayer, everything started blowing. I seen the branches of the trees that was around me start moving. All the weeds and the different flowers in the bush that was around me, it was just everything started blowing. It started blowing, and I looked around like, my goodness, you had to be there to really understand the feeling of heaviness that was there, So after that, I put my shoes back on and I ended up driving back home. And as I went back home, I have a roommate, the younger brother Aina, that's in the camp. We ended up doing a lesson, and there was a spirit that brother was up because I got home late. We ended up just doing a lesson pretty much on suffering for Yahweh Shai's sake, as he had suffered for us. So as we had got done doing that lesson, I went upstairs. I stayed up for a little bit, drank a little bit of water, and then ended up going to sleep. So as I went to sleep, there was a dream that I had, and this was last night, that I remembered clear as day. And mind you, I don't really have dreams too much. The last dream that I remember vividly it was 7 days ago. And then the last one before that was a few days prior. But before that, I don't have too many dreams. I don't dream like that. But as I went into a trance last night, I went into a dream. I was having a dream. And I believe this dream, I wholeheartedly believe 1000% sure that this dream that I had was a vision. So this is the dream that I had. I was in my dream, I was at my workplace. It was really a weird environment because it really wasn't my workplace, but I was doing my job. I cleaned things up in my job. I cleaned cubicles, So I was just spraying my spray, wiping the counter down. And it was a very, very, very beautiful woman. She was a high yellow bone, beautiful face. Her hair probably went down to her shoulders, and it was curly, and it was just shiny. It was greased up, She looked like she was a very beautiful high yellow bone. That's the type of woman that I like. Even though I can't stand the so-called black woman, man, and that's because, a lot of our women are in the wrong state of mind. But pretty much it was a very high yellow bone, and she was beautiful. And my supervisor was training her on how to do certain things. And she kept just looking at me and approaching me and wanting to talk to me. And I was kind of like, brushing her off like, I'm just trying to work right now. I'm just trying to work, just let me go to work, and she was very nice. Like, you don't really come across chicks that are that beautiful, that are just after you and trying to talk to you and want to talk to you. It's a very rare thing. But she was just so in tune with wanting to get to know me, and wanting, out of all the people that was there, wanting me to show her how to do this, So the scene skipped later on, and I can't even remember where we was at, but it was me, it was my brother Tazama, and it was somebody else. I don't remember who the other person was, and it was the girl, it was the girl that was in the previous scene, and she was just very nice. She was introducing herself to the Akyam. She was very presentable. She was very well-mannered. She was in a very calmly delicate spirit, And after that, me and the brother Tazama and the other brother, I can't remember who else was with me, but it was another brother. And the three of us walked off, and we were just chopping it up, just having a spiritual conversation, just going in spiritually, laying back and off each other. It was a spiritual conversation that was being had. So after that, it skipped off to the next scene where it was me and that woman again. And me and that woman, we were sitting on a boat. It was a large boat, and we were just sitting in the middle of the water. And it was just a boat. And I remember it was a bed that was on the top. And me and her was just laying on that bed, And it wasn't no sexual encounter or nothing like that. We were just laying on the bed relaxing, and I could tell it was a woman that I was digging. I was really in tune with her spirit. She was really in tune with my spirit, and we were extremely in tune with one another. And I had asked her, I was like, do you mind if I bring you closer to me? And she was like, take me any type of way you would like. She was like, I want to be with you too. She was like, caress me and take me to you. Come close to me. So I did that, and we got to a point where we was just cuddling, and her smell was just so good. Her tone was just pleasant. Her skin was soft. She was very calmly, And after we had done that, it was a next scene that had happened, and everything was just black. But there was a voice that was spoken unto me, which I believe it was an angel of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And the voice that said was, eat green vegetables. Eat green vegetables for the next few days. Eat herbs. It's weird, right? You know, but that was just a voice that was there, you know? So as I got up, I was trying to think of the dream. I was talking to different brothers, you know, just, I called Tazama, you know, when I woke up, because, you know, that's my blood brother. You know, I'm gonna call that brother, you know, whenever I have a dream or something crazy happens, you know, I call that brother. And that brother does the same thing with me. You know, me and that brother had a lot of spiritual encounters while we've been in this truth, different things. So we always call one another when we see certain things, you know. And I was trying to figure out what the dream meant. Now, I understood afterward that was an angel of the Lord that had spoken to me afterwards. Because right after it was said to me, I woke up. I snapped out of it, and I woke up. I woke up right afterward, and I remembered what was said. So as I woke up, the first thing I do is wake up and I look at the, we have a group chat on the WhatsApp. I know a bunch of different brothers do it, but I looked on the WhatsApp, and brothers was just going in, and the elder Yashawamba had posted a voice recording of what the elder Award from the Mississippi camp posted. And he pretty much had went into how the book of Solomon was very interesting. You know, he was pretty much going into in this state. He actually, in a spiritual state, he read the book of Wisdom of Solomon, and he had understood it. And we was just talking about Wisdom of Solomon, and the brother Tazama was like, man, that's the spirit. Because that brother stated, I have a daily Bible app that I have, and it gives me a random scripture to read or meditate on throughout the day. And he was like, what I wanted to go into, well, what was on my phone was Wisdom of Solomon, the 12th chapter. So I was like, dang. And I made a response. I was like, brothers, that's pretty wild that y'all are going into Wisdom of Solomon. Because as I prayed last night, that was one of the main things I was praying for, was wisdom. So later on, you know, I was chopping up with the brother Tazama. You know, we was on the phone for about 35-40 minutes. Then I got off the phone and I was just walking around, just thinking, meditating on a few things, you know, just meditating on faith and prayer, and just how this thing of ours is just beautiful. You know, it's flourishing so much more. Different brothers are in the spirits of different herbs, different oils, different things, you know, geopolitical news, just a bunch of things, the different functionalities of this body. I was thinking about it and how this truth we have is untouchable. So I had called the brother Aranaza. We was on the phone chopping it up for about an hour, just chopping it up about a few things. And as we're talking, I think back about that dream that I had. And then, you know, the spirit had me think back it again, tit for tat. And it made me understand what that dream was. As I prayed the previous night, I asked for wisdom. And then I went home and I had that dream about that woman to my liking. Like every brother has a woman that's to his liking. Well, women that I like are just yellow bones. I like yellow bones, be like Ephraimite women, but, you know, just yellow bone, like, you know, Israelite women. I'm very attracted to them, you know. Now, of course, you know, a lot of these women, especially yellow bones, they have a terrible mindset. They're very bitter. They're very fickle, you know. But she was very calmly. She was very nice. She was very polite. She wanted to know me, and I wanted to know her. And at first, I was kind of like, brushing her off. And I understood when I first came into the truth, you know, I believed, but, you know, when it came to the scriptures, I would read, but I didn't read it. I didn't read as much as I wanted to, you know. And as my growth in this truth, it came to the point where I would just read, you know, took hold of it. But when I first crossed over, it was like, that lazy demon would kick in, and I wouldn't read when I was supposed to, you know. That woman spiritually, symbolically represented wisdom. I prayed for it the night prior, and then Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai showed me in a dream. And as the dream progressed within these different scenes, she would present herself. She was calmly, she was delicate, she was polite. You know, different brothers got acquainted to her, you know. And then the next scene had happened where me and her are just sitting on a boat, laying there on a bed, just a bed sitting on top of a giant boat. It was like an ocean liner. You know, it was an enormous boat. And as we're sitting there caressing her, I understood what that dream meant. You know, to continue to hold on to wisdom and caress wisdom, because wisdom is likened unto a calmly delicate woman. And that's what I understood as I had that dream. And right after that scene happened, the angel of the Lord spoke to me. Right after that scene, I got one scripture I'm going to bring out. And after I read this scripture, it made me come into complete understanding that's what that dream meant. That's what it meant. That was what the vision was about. So this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1. And I'm going to read verse 6. And this is going to be the only verse, you know. But it says, "For wisdom is a loving spirit." And as I go back to that dream, that woman that I ran across, she had a very loving, nice, calmly beautiful, gentle spirit to her. I've never met a woman in my life that had that spirit to make me want to just be like, wow. But that's what wisdom is like. Wisdom is our first love. Wisdom is that spirit that we need to caress to and hold on to. You know, wisdom will try you in different ways, pursuing to Sirach, the 4th chapter. But after she had tried you, which is, you know, your trial period within this truth. But after she tries you in those certain crooked ways, then she comes upon you. And she holds dearly to you and you with her. You know, wisdom is far more better than any type of woman that we can come across within our walk. Wisdom is the woman, you know. So I'm going to read this again. It says, "For wisdom is a loving spirit." And you don't find a lot of these women with loving spirits. Again, they're very fickle. And even though you got certain women that you deal with in the truth, they're very annoying at times. And I mean, you know, being with the woman, it helps you understand wisdom more. But a lot, you know, the women are of the world. So they're not going to be just your cup of tea here. Of course, you know, they're here and it's boxed and you deal with it and they'll annoy you. But you go through it just because, you know, hey, this is my woman. I can't put her away. But wisdom is a woman that you can actually tolerate and deal with. You know, that loving spirit that you would want to get too close to. Wisdom is that loving spirit. So I'm going to read this again. "For wisdom is a loving spirit, and will not acquit a blasphemer of his words. For God is witness of his reins, and a true beholder of his heart, and a hearer of his tongue." So that there made me think about that prayer that I did the night prior. And how it made me think of, after I got done with my prayer, all the wind started blowing, the trees, the branches started shaking. All the flowers were blowing to the side and the weeds was blowing to the side. And I thought of it as, man, hey, I wholeheartedly believe an angel took my prayer up and sent it to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And that vision that I had that night was about holding on to wisdom. And then an angel spoke to me afterwards and randomly said to eat herbs. So again, you know, this past 10 days, it's been a lot of weird but spiritual encounters that myself and other brothers within our camp have been running across. And the reason why I know it's other brothers in our camp, because we communicate with one another. Now, within this happening with our camp, I'm very confident and pretty sure that other brothers in these different camps are going through it as well, these different things. But right now we're in the time of faith. We're in the time of pushing. We're in the time of belief. We've always been in that time, but it's heightened. And as we get a day closer to the kingdom, we have to believe more and more. 100% faith. We need to have the faith that Yahweh Shai had, that Yahweh Shai told us about, that he would stress. We need to have that in that day that we're living in this day that we're living in, I should say. So it was on my spirit just to go into this lesson, and I was really debating in my mind whether I should do the lesson or not. Now, me and the brother Tazama was talking again, and that brother was like, man, hey, man, I think you should just put that on wax. So, through the spirit, this is me putting this vision I had on wax. Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace, salutations, and many blessings to your elect Akyam across the four corners of this earth, kicking this word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom.